positive vibes. If you love life, it will love you back. This one, I can certainly understand why someone would want to say that. And I think it has to do with focusing on the best things in life, the nice things that life has to offer. And in my personal experience, something I remember way back in the day when I used to play Metal Gear Solid, specifically Metal Gear Solid 2, there was a song called Can't Say Goodbye to Yesterday. And one of the lines in that song is, "The best things in life are free." And that one always stuck to me because when I thought about it critically, as critical as I could, I agreed with it. I said to myself, things like playing sports, that's something that's awesome. It's super. And it can be a free experience. And it was from that moment onward that I began to make comparisons between things that are nice and cool and fun, but somehow business sides of it ruined it. And another example I can think of is YouTube itself. This used to be a website where people broadcasted themselves from their room, which I think I'm doing a pretty good job at. But the moment it turned into a business and people focused more on chasing the algorithm, chasing the money, and all that, I feel like that's when the website started to decline, because then everything became unimaginative, but it was the popular things that were becoming unimaginative. I can appreciate uniqueness and talents, things that actually require you to practice, as opposed to you take half an hour retaking one shot that maybe is only like 10 seconds long, and you spend God knows how long editing to make it look cool and all that. And I said to myself, that is the kind of stuff that ruins things. And I can understand back in the day, the OG big creators, how they had skills with their computers and they took something that we already loved, say Dragon Ball Z or Pokemon, and they started giving their own little spin on it and say their own impressions of it, parodies of it. That's awesome. That's pretty creative, because in a sense, it unites us, since at some point we all had similar thoughts, like how come this character didn't do this instead, or how come the dialogue said this when it's obvious that this other thing was what happened. Little things like that. We all have our internalized commentary on these shows, but these people were actually visually doing something with it, also adding their own commentary. That's fun, that's cool. And these people were doing that before they got paid for it. It made it seem like you did this on the side as a teenager. This was your season to where you had time to do things like that. But then when you grow up, the only way you could sustain that would be if you started getting paid for it, if you started getting supported for it. And I can understand that. It is time consuming and it also requires resources. But perhaps some things need to be let go, and the next generation is the one that needs to take over that. And maybe you're not meant to continuously get paid for that, or say make that into your job entirely. But at the same time, I don't like to say that, because I don't like to discourage people from pursuing their passion, chasing their passion. If they did such a good job with it and they had friends that they were able to recruit for this, is because they all share that passion. It is a privilege to share your passion with other people. But again, at some point you have to recognize that something may need to not continue. And as grateful as I am that these people were able to do something with it, there are some connections that ended up suffering. Why did it end up suffering? Because of the business side of it, because of money. When I see something like this, if you love life, it'll love you back, I look at it as, remember that living doesn't have to signify what you can afford based off how you make a living, what it is that you can afford. Just remember that there's people that you can hang out with, but when you hang out with them, make sure that you're there for them, as opposed to trying to multitask between bonding with this person and then being on your goddamn fucking phone, scrolling mindlessly. And you should be able to talk to people about things outside of that. Don't talk to me about internet gossip. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. It doesn't do anything for me. Those things. And when I think of life loving you back, I look at it as simple. Simplify your life. The best things in life are free and they tend to be very simple, as opposed to you complicating your life and making it miserable because you're impressed by complicated things. And when you think about it, complicated things don't really add much to your life, and you have to somehow put effort into convincing people that that stuff is actually good, it's actually cool, it's actually progress. And if that doesn't really make sense, I like to think of cars, for instance. It used to be so easy to get them fixed, repaired. They took you from place A to place B. You really didn't think about it much, but now they have all these extra stupid goddamn features that will intrude into other things that you didn't ask for, but someone thought of it, incorporated it, and now it's seemingly something that you can't avoid now. And I'm sitting there with my little basic simple car, and all I do is sit on it and take off. I don't have to make any adjustments to it. Why? Because I love my life as a driver the way that I was trained to drive, which is get in the car, seatbelt, be aware of your surroundings, maneuver carefully, don't be distracted. But now we have all these toys accompanying it that I'm like, every time I'm in one of those more advanced cars, I always tell myself, there's no way I would enjoy this thing. All I want to do is drive to my destination and not have my display with overwhelming messages. And nowadays, when you go get it repaired, it seems like it takes 4, 5, 6 hours for it to be done. Whereas back in the good old days, you could be in and out within the hour. That's supposed to be fun. Like, that's supposed to be a good way to live life. I look at life loving you back as keep it simple, stay true to yourself, make meaningful, deep connections, avoid the noise, understand that not everything needs to be a business. Not everything is meant to boost productivity or whatever the fuck. Just get by, be well, try to stay happy. I know I'm working on the happiness part. Mine is a cycle, big waves, long periods of trenches sometimes, but I'm still here and nothing stops me, nothing shakes me up. I just face it, and when I need help, I very humbly reach out. And if I can't get the help, then I just continue doing what I can. I'm not going to start resenting life because of what I don't have or can't get. It's hard, but like I've said before, that rebounding is the best part, my favorite part. It's what feels best. Well, there you guys have it. That's it from me. Thank you so much for tuning in. I feel like this one, I have opined on it, but in scattered topics over the years. And that's why I tried taking it in a slightly new direction, mentioning something I may have never mentioned before. But at this point, it will become inevitably repetitive because it's something that I talk about all the time. Okay, that's it. Bye.